What's up, ladies and gentlemen, Anbraxas here. Welcome to the video. Today is going to be another DayZ StandAlone update, and holy crap, we've got some updates today. Dean Rocket Hall just released new screenshots on the DayZ tumbler. They just got a new lighting system put into the DayZ StandAlone, and boy oh boy, does it make things look good. So, first thing we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about the different screenshots, what it means in the standalone. And then we're going to be talking about the news article itself and getting to the real meat of this. So, up on your screen, you've got a comparison between the Arma 2 city and the DayZ StandAlone city. Now, I can't be 100% certain which city this is. If I had to take a guess, I would say that is actually Gabulovo, whatever's east of Novi Sobar. I do believe that's where that picture's been taken. And you can see the obvious difference in lighting changes in between the two pictures. You can definitely see higher texture resolutions on the buildings themselves. You can see a couple of additional buildings in the screenshot itself. And you can see that the ground textures have been lifted just a little bit, which was something they really needed to work on coming into the standalone. That was one thing that annoyed the crap out of me in Arma 2 mod, was that the ground textures were pretty bad. So, moving right along here, we're going to be taking a look at a recent picture of a survivor. It looks like they've really put a lot of work into the clothing system at this point. From what I can gather from the news article that we're going to be talking about here in a few minutes, character customization is going to become a huge part of the game. You're going, whatever attachment you had to your character before is going to be taken to the next level, because you're going to be able to completely customize these guys out. I'm not sure if that's going to pertain to weight, because a lot of games don't mess with character weight, but there's going to be a whole lot of customization that you can get into. Clothing now has durability, so it will wear out. But we'll be talking about that here in just a couple of minutes. Clipping right along here through these screenshots, we can see different face models for different character choices. Going back to the customization thing, they're going to let you choose different races. I do believe they have female models for this. I'm not 100% certain. But you're definitely going to be able to customize your own personal character. We're just clipping right along into that screenshot. It seems like we're down here along the coast somewhere. It looks like we've got our giant highway that runs the entire length of Trinarus. And it's just showing off the volumetric clouds, the new lighting system. And in my personal opinion, it very much makes it feel like a lot darker environment, a lot more foreboding. And I think it could definitely work on your nerves after a short period of time. Here, I do believe we're looking at, if I'm not mistaken, this would be the castle that's near Rogue or Borg. I'm not really sure, but it is one of the castles along the coast. It does look a lot better. You can see the volumetric cloud effects in the sky there. So the sky has at least been updated for the DayZ StandAlone, which should be pretty neat. Hopefully the clouds still move the same direction. That way you can tell where you are. But that has not been confirmed yet. Clipping along again, we see something pretty darn interesting. There's a lot more to the screenshot than you actually think there is. Not only is the back chassis of an airplane in this wreck, we can see that actually is a destroyed building, and that there is either a bus or a small building behind it. It's not entirely clear, but it does look like you will be able to sift through Wreckage itself to look for loot. I know they have been putting in a lot of work into their loot system. I know you're going to be able to take axes off walls, etc. You're going to have to look under objects to find like cans of food, etc. And I don't guess there's really any limit they can't obtain with this. As long as there's an open space, there could be items there. So it could bring a really, really different scavenging experience to DayZ. Moving right along, we can just see a destroyed car, which doesn't seem like too much in itself, but if you remember the destroyed cars from the Arma 2 mod, they really didn't have much definition to them. They were standard copy and paste crashed models. This is definitely a redone texture for the DayZ StandAlone itself. You can definitely see that the car had caught fire at some point. You can see the scorch marks under it. However, that could be the lighting. It's not entirely clear because the screenshots are not in that high of a resolution. But if you look under the back end of the car there, you can see that the muffler is laying on the ground. That could potentially be a salvageable part. We don't really know what's going on there. The windows seem to be slightly different than the rest of the body of the car. Maybe the windows are actually harvestable. You're actually to take them out. That's kind of a big unknown, but it could have quite a large impact on the gameplay. If not from a gameplay mechanic, it could be from an aesthetic feel. Again, looking at the screenshot, you really do get a sense of impending doom. Now, the next screenshot we've got is particularly exciting, and that is what we're looking at is a new zombie model. And, we've got Zombie Chick here. We're kind of peeking through the grass, which, might I add, the grass has had new textures added to it, so it has a higher resolution. I don't think anything about this screenshot's actually been photoshopped. But you can see that the definition on the resolution on the zombies have been increased significantly. Although the Humvee over on the right does look like it needs a texture update. Overall, a really great screenshot. You can see, at least in my opinion, you can kind of see into the house that she's standing in front of. That does look like it is now an inoperable building. You can definitely see a little bit of wear and tear on the building itself. Whether or not that's coming from the new lighting engine or not is unknown. But the fence definitely does look degraded. And overall, the zombie looks really good. So next screenshot gets me even more excited. Trinarus Plus. And I have no idea exactly what we're looking at here. This does not appear to be along the coast at all. I'm not entirely sure where this is, but it looks like a large military camp. So the potential for military bases to be spread out across all of Trinarus is there. It's going to be a really interesting gameplay mechanic. I cannot wait to see people go into live streaming on Twitch as they get into the alpha test. I mean, just seeing the new Trinarus is going to be really interesting. The disorientation factor is going to be huge, as it looks like there's going to be new buildings, new structures set up across the face of Trinarus. That's really going to change the way you perceive your location. A lot of cities, it was really easy to determine where you are because, certain cities, maybe they'd have a large red barn. That would be really easy to pick up. And you'd be like, okay, I'm either in these 3 cities. It has to be one of these. It looks like maybe that's gone by the wayside. And maybe the maps are going to become way more valuable than they used to be. And then moving on to the last screenshot that was released today, we can just see, I apologize, we can see a updated version of boots. They said there was going to be shoes. These do appear to be waterproof work boots, at least from the tight stitching on the seams. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing with this. However, it does have quite a bit of definition for just being a pair of shoes. I'm not sure what that's going to do as far as optimization and performance, but very cool indeed. So for the next couple of minutes, we're just going to be cycling through the screenshots that have been released for the standalone from the very start until now, as we talk about some features that they're adding into the game. So, moving right along here. Things that they've added in the game. They've added lighting and material improvements, volumetric cloud systems, new server architectures, clothing and inventory systems. What is the status of the closed test? How are the art and world updates coming along? How will you be able to customize your character? And how will you be able to customize your weapon? So, I'm not going to stick on each subject too long as far as lighting and volumetric clouds are concerned. Just know that volumetric clouds are important in factors of fog and factors of light penetrating through a cloudy, rainy day. Maybe it becomes night faster. Volumetric clouds have been kind of prevalent in more recent games, and I wouldn't say we haven't seen it in a whole lot of games recently, or at least to a great effect. But when you think about light shafts and things of that nature, that's all volumetric clouds. So they could do a lot of really cool stuff with that. I'm really anxious to see what they do with that whole system. As far as the new architecture is set up, they're talking a little bit about the anti-hack mechanisms. A lot of people have been saying that DayZ StandAlone will be released without anti-hack software, and Dean Rocket Hall wanted to make sure that everyone understood that the DayZ servers will function like MMO style servers, where basically only the graphics are rendered on your end and the server tells you what you're seeing. And there's no way for you to sniff out certain bits of data in order to put it into a hack, and you won't be able to inject anything into the servers without them recognizing it. So they'll be able to pick up something out of the norm pretty darn quickly if they're using an MMO style system, and bans will be swift, I'm sure. As far as zombie spawns, now this is a huge thing. There was a lot of metagaming going on as far as zombie spawns, being able to look into a town to see if anyone was there just by seeing if the zombies are spawned. Apparently they do have the DayZ StandAlone optimized enough at this point that they can have zombies spawned permanently upon server initialization, which means as soon as it starts up, there are zombies in all cities or wherever they're going to spawn them. He has not commented on if they're going to be in forested areas or not, but they are just going to be there. They're going to be a permanent part of the game world. You won't be able to tell who's in a city unless you see aggro, which is going to be a really welcome change for those of you who fly around in helicopters and look for zombie spawns and somebody to kill. Look, it appears those days are done too soon. So as far as their closed testing, they are still working on it. They're still ironing everything out. They're making sure that the Valve server search system is working correctly. Arma 2 actually used the GameSpy search system. If you ever noticed in the upper right corner, it said powered by GameSpy. That's being completely eliminated. They're going to use the Steam/Valve server search feature. If you've never seen that before, just play around with your Steam a little bit. You will figure it out really quickly what the Steam search is. You'd actually be surprised how many servers are out there that you didn't even know existed before. As far as the art and the world's going, they still are adding more spawnable buildings. They're redesigning buildings such as the general store to have a completely different look. They're adding entirely new buildings to different areas, as we saw in the screenshot earlier with the military base seemingly in the middle of nowhere. And their texture artists are basically going through the entire world to make everything look way more damaged and way more used, which I am sure, as far as clothing, weapons, vehicle parts, etc., more damaged and used looking items are probably going to function worse. So next we're going to be talking about character customization, and they're taking this way further than I ever thought they would. I thought, as far as the clothing system was concerned, that was probably going to be end of the line. You know, you got a couple of different character models, a couple of different sets of clothes, and that was done, shut case. That doesn't appear to be what's going on here. Apparently we're going to be able to pick gender, race, what they're going to look like. Will they have tattoos? Will they have unique clothing items? Maybe the choices that you make in your clothing style, or I guess maybe like face tattoos or whatever, maybe you'd be perceived different to other players. You always got to keep that in mind. Maybe your clothing choices upon spawning aids you or makes things worse. Maybe you spawn in a jacket and it's a warm day, so you sweat, and then it's cold at night, and you get sick. They have confirmed 100% that diseases will carry over to items, which means clothing, guns, food, ammo. So it's going to be entirely possible for you to get sick. I do imagine they are going to be spreading out hospitals across Trinarus Plus at this point. And hospitals are going to be hot zones, probably even a little more sought after than military upgrade tents. You know, you might have a great gun, but if your character's sick, it's only a matter of time before they start passing out and die. I do know they were recently working on a new poop animation. Yes, that's an actual thing. Your character will be able to poop. I'm sure they will be able to catch dysentery. They do have new vomit animation, so you'll know when your character's sick. Perhaps you'll shoot a lot worse, get the shakes. Who knows where they're going to go with that. But moving right along, let's talk about weapons. As far as weapons are concerned, they haven't really gotten too far into what kind of attachments are going to go on weapons. They do know that they're going to have a lot of attachments. I'm sure all the sights, scopes, etc. will be available for most guns, much like they would be in the real world. But currently, at the moment, in the standalone alpha, they only have magazines for weapons functioning correctly. So we're definitely going to stay tuned. I'm going to stay stuck on his Twitter to see what's going on with that. As far as the release date for the DayZ StandAlone, he's keeping tight-lipped. Apparently, ever since the War Z's pressure has dropped off, Dean Rocket Hall feels no pressure to get the DayZ StandAlone out any faster than he needs to. It looks like they're going to be really taking their time and working on this product. And if the screenshots and the developer blog has anything to say for it, DayZ, as far as a game, is going to be ridiculous. We will never have seen a game close to it before this point. They have said that they're going to be continuing to work on the player building system and things like that in the near future. But it will be going into closed testing here shortly. I'm sure we'll see some streams start up. But overall, really exciting stuff. I am super stoked for this game, so I hope you guys are too. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this. My name is Anbraxas, and I'll catch you later.